You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And surprise, surprise, Beetlejuice is back at number one in its third week with almost $26 million for a domestic gross of $226 million and a total gross of $331 million. I know Warner Brothers has to be tickled because there's no way that they thought that movie was going to generate $331 million worldwide. There's no way to forecast that.
Yeah.
Transformers 1, which I've heard a lot of great reviews. I mean, great reviews. I haven't seen it.
Really? You've heard great reviews?
Yes. Brandon Easton, friend of the show, he was raving about it, saying it was one of the best Transformer projects ever.
That's unfortunate.
Well, it came in second with $24 million and a worldwide gross of $38 million for an animated property. I'm quite sure that's pretty well. They'll take it. You know, I don't know if they were really high expectations for it coming out in September.
Look, I saw it. Okay. And part of my reason for going to see it is because of Brandon's review.
Oh, so you saw his review?
I saw the review, and I have to take his review with a slight grain of salt because Brandon Easton is one of the head writers for the current Netflix Transformers animated series, War for Cybertron, and it's a fantastic series. So he has a different connection to Transformers.
So he's a little personally invested in the whole idea of Transformers.
I can see how he can be, because I watched this exact same movie and I said to myself, this should be called Cliche Formers Trash in Disguise. I don't know.
Wow.
No. And I don't want to be too hard on it. It's just that when you have a film that is extremely formulaic, there's nothing original about it. Granted, the franchise has been around for years. If you're going to tell a new origin story, yet another origin story, and you're going to go back to the same every single thing that you think could happen in a film where there's two friends who all of a sudden end up on the opposite side and now they're at war. Yeah, everything happens, and this is like, you sit there and I'm just like, oh, nothing original.
So Optimus and Megatron were actually friends at one point?
Yeah, they were good buddies. And of course there's that thing that you have Optimus who with the optimism, and you have D-17 who is just always lusting for power. And you already know where that's going to go. You already know where it's going to go. Where you have one robot who's always feeling like, look, man, we got to do more.
Okay, but where could it have gone? How could it have been better if you know that the story has to lead to the war on Cybertron? Not to give it away.
I mean, yeah. Spoiler. Literally, I don't think that there is anywhere that this film could have gone. You could have maybe gone a little bit deeper into developing these characters. And there were just some things that for me personally, and I know it sounds silly watching a movie called Transformers, but Mo, on the planet Earth, they were robots in disguise because they were hiding from humans, right? That's why they transformed into cars and stuff.
I know, like the theme says. Transformers, robots in disguise.
So on a planet where everyone is a robot, why do you need to transform? What is the point of transforming? They did not answer why it's necessary for robots to transform when everyone's a robot. Also, why robot deer? Because the robots don't eat meat, right? Or do they eat robot deer meat? They had robot deer on the planet of Cybertron. That's in the trailer. That's not a spoiler.
This is damn it, I'm agreeing with Mark Ronner again. I hate this. It hurts so much.
Yeah, it must be painful, yeah.
This is why Mark won't pay any mind to some of these movies, because they're not meant for us.
Well, I don't know if
you're a 50-year-old man.
Were you listening at all Friday, Mo, when I had Tuwala try to make a case for me to sit through any Transformers movie?
I heard, yes.
While I'm waiting for your apology for the last segment, I'm going to be waiting for Tuwala to apologize for that.
Look, Mark, I
accept.
Sorry. I tried to encourage you to see this movie, and I really think that this movie would have brought our friendship into question, because you would have said, Tuwala, you wanted me to see that? That's not the film that I want you to go see. that is of, an animated film.
And I do remember you were very dismissive of Mark.
I was, right? I was. I had the dirty nerve to disrespect his opinion on just Transformers as a whole. And I used that to stand on. Oh, man, no.
Well, coming in at number 3 was Speak No Evil. I think that's the new Halle Berry movie.
No, that's the one.
Oh, that's Never Let Go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Speak No Evil is the one about the couple that hooks up with another couple in Britain and are terrorized.
Number 4 is Never Let Go, the new Halle Berry movie. It debuted with only 4.4 million. It's not looking like it's going to do well.
Yeah, that's even less than was predicted, and they did not have high hopes for that one going in.
Deadpool and Wolverine is still in the top 10. In fact, it's number 5. It came in with 3.9 million this week. It's a very balanced movie as far as its appeal around the world. 627 million domestically, 689 million internationally. It's broken the $1.3 billion barrier. I think that's about as high as it's going to go before it leaves theaters. Number 6 was The Substance. Don't want to see that.
I've heard some really incredible things about that one.
Is it a horror movie?
It sounds like kind of a David Cronenberg type body horror movie. So not for kids.
Yeah.
But it sounds terrific. I can't wait to see that.
Number 7, Am I Racist? Number 8, Reagan. Number 9, Jungkook. I have no idea what that is. Number 10, Alien Romulus. And you know what? The movie, because I make the mistake of walking in the house and my wife is just watching movies, so I end up watching whatever she's watching. And she was watching the movie Blink Twice with Channing Tatum.
Which one is that? Is that the one that Lenny Kravitz's daughter?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
And they're in the hotel?
Yes. And they're abducting these women and they're blanking out their memories while they're on this private island that's owned by this tech billionaire. Long story short, I was pretty surprised at how unbad it was. It wasn't good, but it was unbad and it was fine to watch at home. I think it was on Netflix.
Zoe Kravitz is the name I was trying to think of there. I've heard similar things, that it's really well directed.
It had a real Get Out vibe. Same type of psychological thriller, brooding. You always feel like you're in danger type movie. Twist at the end, very Get Out-ish. That's the only way I can describe it.
You said your wife was watching it at home. How was she seeing it?
On the sofa?
No, but did she rent it for $20?
I don't know. It was just on.
No, I think it's on Netflix.
Yeah, I think it's on Netflix. Yeah. I think.
It's on one of them because it is definitely at home, and I know there was a lot of chatter online of like, damn, that was fast.
Oh, it's really fast. It's really fast. I was kind of surprised. I was like, wait a minute, isn't that Channing Tatum? Is that like that Blake movie? And I looked up, oh, it is, because I didn't even know what the movie was about. And I came in maybe 20 minutes in, and all of a sudden I'm in the kitchen making food, and it's still on, and I'm still paying attention. I said, well, let me see where this goes. Improbable every step of the way. But I was mildly entertained.
Is there some good old-fashioned nudity and violence in it?
Oh, there's a lot of violence. Mark, you will love the violence in this, dog. Let me tell you, there is some violence.
Well sold. Okay.
Oh, I mean, over the top violence of how you can kill someone. Yes.
What did your wife think?
She was nonplussed. She was like, whatever. I think I enjoyed it more than she did, and she was the one who started the movie.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, I think if you're a fan of violence, definitely.
Well, you don't need to make me sound like a sociopath, do you?
You're the one.
Is that necessary?
You're always asking about the violence. I'm just answering the question that was asked of me. It's a very, very, very violent movie. It has the kid from AI, what's his name? Haley Joel Osment, and some other people you've seen.
It's a pretty
before.
big cast.
Yeah, it's a big cast. Big cast. But I kept thinking, like, this could be like a sequel to Get Out. It felt like the same movie makers. It felt like a Jordan Peele production.
Okay, because the only way that I see that it's available on IMDb is a $19.99 Amazon Prime rental. I'm not paying $20 to watch a movie.
Okay, before we go to break, we're going to satisfy this real quick. Blink twice.
There are people for whom money has no meaning. They'll pay $20 to sit at home and see a movie.
Oh.
That seems insane to me.
Okay, well, it's supposed to be available on HBO Max in November. I don't know. Look, I'll have to. Should I just call her right now and figure out what?
Could you call her on the air, please?
No. It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640 live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
Well, it's later with
Mo Kelly on KFI AM 640.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And 12 Sharp and I were having a conversation during the break, which was about what we were discussing last segment. We got into the sidebar discussion about the movie Blink Twice. Channing Tatum, Zoe Kravitz directed it. And I said it had this Get Out type feel and vibe. But Get Out had to do with men. And Blink Twice has to do with women. And without giving the movie away for those who haven't seen it, I think part of the reason, and Tuwala was spot on with this, part of the reason the movie did not do as well as anticipated in theaters, the budget for the movie was $20 million. I think it grossed maybe $40 million. Part of the reason it didn't do well has to do with the world that we live in today, the climate that we live in today. A movie about the repeated sexual assault of women is just not the moneymaker that it was 10 and 20 years ago in a world of Epstein, in a world of Diddy. And yes, it does have a resolution at the end, and I don't want to give it away, but probably the appetite for just how the movie was marketed didn't endear itself.
Yeah, there's no way that a film that on the premise, when I was watching the trailer in theaters, I remember thinking to myself, wait a minute, this is a film about the abduction and drugging of women and potentially holding them against their will and doing things to them. There's no way this film is going to do anything in today's climate.
And sure enough, it didn't. But it kind of leads us into our next discussion. We're talking about Diddy, mentioned Diddy, and some have asked, well, how did it get to this point? How did it rise to the level of criminal charges? But it all traces back to singer Cassie Ventura and her lawsuit back in 2023, which set all this in motion. And people would say, well, Mo, that was a civil suit. What does that have to do with criminal charges? Well, it was because of her civil suit, which was settled surprisingly in the public eye for some $15 million or something like that, which led to 8 other civil suits. And the evidence in those suits were shared with the Department of Justice, which piqued their interest and led to a larger criminal investigation, which led to the subpoenas, and the rest, as they say, is history. So even though Cassie did not lead directly to the charges of Diddy, her lawsuit put that ball in motion, which led to the other lawsuits. And also these attorneys were sharing information, sharing evidence with federal DOJ attorneys.
And it cannot be understated how courageous a move it is for Cassie to have come forward, because remember, after Cassie came forward is when everyone else who had been allegedly victimized by Diddy started coming forward, men and women alike. But it was because of her bravery and her standing up and saying, no, hell no, this is enough. I'm not going through any more of this. And she started unloading everything. She said, you know what? Take me out tomorrow if you want to. If that's your threat, go ahead. But I'm letting everything out. And the stuff that she was saying was so insane for people to believe, because no one had ever heard any of these allegations of abuse coming from anyone having ever dealt with Diddy. So when she came forward, it was like the floodgates literally cracked open.
And because of that, it may inspire even more people to come forward. If you listen to the press conference when Diddy was arrested, they basically did an all call. Hey, if you know something, if you've seen something, we want to hear from you. I'm quite sure they will subpoena other people depending on what is viewable on those freak off tapes that they probably got during their raids. There may be people who, to your point, Tuala, who are more willing to come forward. It's a safer moment because they will have the protection of Diddy being in custody and not having access to his money or communications with other people. And that's part of the reason why they kept him in custody, not only so he could not flee, but also he could not witness tamper or potentially witness tamper.
Yeah.
And if you get a chance, TMZ, shout out to TMZ and Harvey Levin. They did a great turnaround on this Diddy investigation where they compiled all their information and put together rather quickly. And I thought it was a very informative and fair representation of everything that has led up to this moment, going back to Diddy's career in the late 80s when he was an intern, his rise to fame in the 90s, and trying to put all of this in its proper context. It's really good. So if you look at the TMZ documentary on Diddy, I can't remember where I saw it, but you can find it if you look for it. It's well worth the watch. I think it's like an hour or something like that. But, and I also try to tell other people, slow down. There's going to be a lot more which is going to come out. A lot more. And it's not going to be because you saw Diddy in some celebrity photo with, I don't know, Bill Clinton or something. You know, it's going to be because of actual evidence and allegations of other crimes. And if I hear one more person try to compare Diddy to Hugh Hefner, I promise I'm going to throw my phone across the room.
Who is saying that?
Oh, it is everywhere.
What?
They're trying to say, well, Hugh did this and he had freak offs. They were just called a different name. Look, I am not making this up. It is everywhere.
Wow.
Trying to make the false equivalence between Hugh Hefner's parties at the Grotto, of which I know something about, with Diddy's parties. It's completely different. We're talking about allegations of underage youngsters and drugs, forcible rape with Diddy. Okay, it's a little bit different than what allegedly went on with Hugh Hefner. But always people want to find some reason to say, what about?
I hate the whatabouts, because all you're actually saying is you want some level of forgiveness or acceptance of Diddy's crimes because someone else committed crimes.
Allegedly.
That is the most disgusting premise ever, to say like, well, why should we be coming down on Diddy this hard? They didn't come down on Hugh Hefner like that.
Well, that goes back to what you said. People have come forward. Now, if Cassie didn't come forward and set this ball in motion, we're probably not having this discussion. But since she did come forward and offer evidence, and some other eight people have levied their own civil suits and offered evidence to the DOJ, well, here we are. It's not like the DOJ woke up one day and said, let's go get Diddy Combs' ass. No, it didn't start like that. It's because people came forward, reputable, who had evidence, could be corroborated, and it was enough for the associated subpoenas to be granted by a federal judge who signed off on them. There's been a process that people are seemingly just ignoring because they want to protect Diddy. I don't know why, but it's a pattern that I'm seeing. Always where like, well, why worry about this person? Let's talk about another person's alleged criminality. You know, don't talk about Bill Cosby because of Harvey Weinstein. Well, Harvey Weinstein's in prison now. But that's the point. Don't talk about Diddy, talk about Hugh Hefner. It's later with Mo Kelly. But we are going to talk about Janet Jackson, what she had to say about Kamala Harris in an interview. Ooh, sometimes folks don't know when to stop talking.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Let me quickly reset. I am a Janet Jackson fan for life. I worked with her at arm's length at Virgin Records in the late 1990s when she released the Velvet Rope album. The song you heard in the bumper, I Get So Lonely, was part of that album. It's one of the biggest hits from that album. I've met her any number of times. I don't have anything bad to say about her. She's one of the nicest people I've ever met in the business. I said it then and I say that again. And I also say it as someone who's worked in entertainment for many years, met any number of celebrities, don't like a lot of them, but she's one of them I do like. So when there's a story in the news about Janet and an interview, not only can I offer some perspective as far as what is required of a journalist and an interviewer, I can also offer some perspective on Janet as a person and how she usually conducts her business. With all that said, if you don't know the controversy, and it's becoming a worldwide story because she's a worldwide icon, and also she doesn't live in the United States anymore. Janet Jackson got into some, I'll say, media hot water, depending on how you view it, from comments she made in an interview with The Guardian. It was published over the weekend on Saturday, and the story is still growing and it's still evolving. And an interviewer asked her in this print interview what she thought about Kamala Harris and the prospect, and I'm paraphrasing, the prospect of Kamala Harris being the first woman of color becoming president in the United States. This is what Janet had to say, and I'm reading her remarks verbatim. Janet said, quote, "Well, you know what they supposedly said. She's not black. That's what I heard. That she's Indian. Her father is white. That's what I was told. I mean, I haven't watched the news in a few days. I was told that they discovered her father was white." And she goes on, "Honestly, I don't want to answer that because I really truthfully don't know. I think either way it is going to be mayhem. I think there might be mayhem," talking about whoever wins, either it be Kamala Harris or Donald Trump. That was the first part of the controversy, the remarks itself. Later Saturday night, a guy who was saying that he was Janet Jackson's manager released a supposed apology on her behalf. Long story short, he did work with Janet Jackson, but he was not authorized to release any such apology. And then Janet's other management connected to Randy Jackson, her brother, who is actually her manager, said that they did not authorize that apology. And also the guy who released the unauthorized apology was fired. Here's what I think people should take away from this story. I have no problem with anything that Janet said. I have a problem with the inaccuracy of what she said, but I have no problem with her expressing her thoughts on the election. I think that we as journalists should be more mindful of who we're talking to. And if you're talking to someone who historically, and this goes back to what I've known about Janet, if you're talking to someone historically who's never weighed in on anything really consequential, political or social issues, then you're liable to get something which is going to be embarrassing to that celebrity. If that was your goal going in, well, good for you. I don't think that's a good journalistic practice. But if the question was in good faith, then I don't have any problem with you printing what Janet said. Those are her words. She said it. It was inaccurate. It may have even sounded ignorant, but those are her words. So I don't have a problem with either the journalist or Janet in this respect. We always talk about free speech. Well, free speech does not protect you from social consequences. And Janet Jackson is being taken through the ringer. It was a subject on The View today. It's going to be a subject in entertainment news for quite some time because the story keeps getting updates. It started on Saturday. The apology came Saturday night. The apology was denied on Sunday. The supposed publicist / manager who released the apology was fired on Sunday. And so now here we are on Monday, and Janet Jackson has not made any type of retraction of the remarks. She's not clarified the remarks. And now there are those Kamala Harris supporters like comedian D.L. Hughley who are going after Janet with a vengeance, because that's where we are in this country, where everything political has a heightened impact and people are angry about everything in politics. The facts of the matter is, I think people are more concerned about Kamala Harris's color and ethnicity than is really necessary. I've met Kamala Harris, and I've said this before. I've met Kamala Harris any number of times as to whether she sees herself as a black woman. She has always presented herself as a black woman, and anyone saying to the contrary is either ignorant or is lying. She has said as much throughout her whole life, and I can play you audio from when I first met her in 2006 to that degree. But for some reason, it's become an issue on the campaign trail as if that she has been less than honest about her ethnicity. Her father was from Jamaica. Last I checked, that's a part of the African diaspora. Her mother was from India. Okay? So regardless of what you may think of Kamala Harris and her politics, her ethnicity is really not up for debate, and how she's ever characterized herself is not up for debate. But I firmly stand behind Janet Jackson's right and privilege to make a stupid ass statement. And also, I stand behind the right of the rest of us to call her out on it and to highlight the fact that it was ill-informed, misinformed. And honestly, this is what bothers me. And I think about this as someone who has worked for celebrities, and their job is to actually protect them. usually if you get to interview someone the caliber of Janet Jackson, there are 5 or 6 different people in the room. She's not in there by herself. And in fact, if you know some of the backstory, there were people who were trying to keep her from answering this question because they know that it could have gone south, and it did. But the problem is, Janet should know better at this point in her career. And for whatever reason, she went down this road basically admitting she didn't know what she was talking about. She said phrases like, well, you know what they supposedly said. That's what I heard. That's what I was told. I haven't watched the news in a few days. I was told that they discovered. All of those phrases are saying that you admittedly have no idea what you're talking about. And as it turns out, it was factually garbage. So this story is going to be huge in music and news and entertainment and politics for the foreseeable future because she has tacitly doubled down, not clarified her remarks. And Kamala Harris supporters are coming after Janet Jackson. Look, I say all the time, celebrities are entertainers and they're people too. They are concerned about our country and they have their own views. Some are more informed, some are less informed, some are completely uninformed. And I don't speak out against them speaking out. I think they should be treated just like everyone else. They get to have their say, and then we get to respond to what they've said. And also call out the stuff which is patently false. And I still love her. I'll still listen to her music, but she was dead ass wrong.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And before we get out of here, we got to remind you, as we are moving into October very shortly, it's Halloween time at the Disneyland Resort, and KFI AM 640 wants to give you a chance to experience all the frightful fun. A Happiest Halloween has brought fiendishly tasty treats, thrills for one and all, and beautiful decor to both Disney California Adventure Park and Disneyland Park from now until October 31st, Halloween. Keep listening to KFI for your chance to win a 4-pack of one-day, one-park tickets to the Disneyland Resort. And also, got to give you an update. We couldn't do it starting this past Friday because there was a last-minute change in our programming schedule. I was in for Tim Conway Jr. and Mark and Tiffany were in for me. But we promise you this week, this Friday, we're going to start giving away passes to our exclusive Halloween, or actually pre-Halloween party, live remote studio audience. And we want you as listeners of Later with Mo Kelly to join us. So this Friday, as part of Name That Movie Cult Classic, we'll be giving away passes to the coolest, most exclusive event in all of KFI's history. I'm claiming it right now. In fact, we've already started sending out invitations to our celebrity guests that we hope to have in the house. Can't tell you that because I don't want to jinx it, but you know, we are very, very, very confident that we're going to have some great surprises for you. And that's coming up on October 30th. In the Honda Studios Theater here at iHeartMedia. October 30th. Mark that date on your calendar right now. Stefan, have you marked that date?
I sure did. I'm excited.
Okay. Mark, I don't know if you can. Do you know anyone who can get you in the party?
No. I'm going to have to just spend the evening here in the news booth.
Okay. Well, the news booth is going to be upstairs, so you'll be okay.
Oh, no.
Yeah. You might have to come. You might have to be around other people.
Okay. What do you think about this for a costume? You've seen the movie Goldfinger, right?
Of course.
How about that terry cloth romper that Sean Connery wears?
It's a little obscure, but I would get it.
Well, it's like a short shirt combo.
Very sexy.
I don't have the chest hair that Connery had, but I think I could pull it off.
You can make it work.
You could use a black marker, just draw some chest hair.
Yeah, a gel pen.
And Tuala Sharp, I know you're going to be there on the 30th. You know what's going on behind the scenes. It's going to be big. Big.
No, on Friday, Mark and Tiffany, they played for fun the Name That Cult Classic movie game. And almost every single person that called in was like, can't I just get on the list now? I know you're not giving anything away, but I need to get on this list. I have to be there.
We couldn't do it. Some things happened behind the scenes which precluded our ability to do that, but we're definitely going to do that this Friday. We want to make sure it's for our listeners. You have been riding with us from the beginning or got on the train somewhere along the way. And we want to make sure that you are well represented, not just anybody and everybody. Well, they'll maybe get their chance later on. I don't know. But first and foremost, we want to make sure you are taken care of. The people who call in for the game, the people who listen each and every night, the people who have been riding with us all along. We want to make sure that we get to say hello to you in person. We will have souvenirs to give away. We will have food. We will have beverage. We will have fun. There will be Halloween costumes. There will be famous people. So many great things are going to be happening on October 30th. All you got to do is keep on listening to Later with Mo Kelly. I can't make it much easier than that.
No, you absolutely can. And this is shaping up to be a blast. I have seen the invite list that has gone out. I've been cooking up some ideas in the lab myself as far as who we can, make sure is invited to swing through. And I can guarantee you that there's going to be someone there, maybe even in costume, that you will say, damn, this is like, the Masked Singer up in here. Who is that? I know that voice.
Got all sorts of surprises to tell you about, all sorts of giveaways to give to you in the coming weeks and months. But please set aside October 30th as our day. We don't care what you do on Halloween, but October 30th, you'll want to be in this particular house, this studio on that day, because we're going to set it off in ways that we've never done it before. And to our prospective guests who I know are listening right now, oh yes, we want you to roll through. So we'll talk to you tomorrow. KFI AM 640. We are live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Common sense left California a long time ago. We're bringing it back.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio.